What is it called? Oh, I can't remember
Oh
what it's
no.
called. I'll have to think about it because I don't have any idea what it was called. All I remember is that the main character was like not vibing with the save the world deal, and the villain showed up and was like, "I'll offer you women," and he was like, "Sold."
Wait, what?
and,
I
and then
don't
like
even know
his
what
like
that.
partner was like, "No, wait a minute, you can't do that. Hold on, wait a minute."
Two, one. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boys, and we are back with the 52nd episode of the DNAnime podcast. It is me, Beautiful Crow, with my co-host Vic Seal. We're back with another anime banger, and I just want to say this is my momentous event. Who would have thunk back when we started a year plus ago that we would still be doing this, right? I assumed I was going to be dead by now, Vic.
I don't know about dead. I'm tired, maybe exhausted, hiatus, perhaps. I don't know about dead. I am immortal. You can't kill me, and you can't prove me other. You can't prove it otherwise. The only way to prove that I'm not immortal is to kill me, and you're not going to do that. So I'm immortal.
You're not. But yes, we are back here to talk about anime, hang out with everybody, and ring in the 52nd episode of the DNAnime podcast. Again, a lot goes into this podcast, and big shout outs to everybody involved, aka Vix and myself, and Didgeridoo, who works on all of our beautiful production as far as thumbnails, our backdrop, and a couple other things, our logo as well, a couple of things behind the scenes. And a big shout out to all of you guys who listen and hang out, from the crew and the community who hang out and actually like sit up here and hang out with us and type down here in chat. You guys on the video portion podcast, the chat and hang out with us, who have given us ideas for topics and who have supported us the entire way, man. I just want to say a big shout out and lovely hearts, less than threes for all of you guys. I genuinely appreciate it. Again, like I always say, this is always a highlight of my week. Just kind of sit here and wax poetic talking about anime. If you guys have been following the DNAnime podcast for a while, heard me and Vix talk like two old codgers about our roots, where we came up growing with anime, how much anime has changed, how much everything has kind of come around full circle. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, we always talk about like, hey, there's always these classics that everybody watching, everybody knew, everybody was watching Naruto, everybody was watching Dragon Ball Z, everybody was watching it. And now it's this whole different landscape where you couldn't pay me to watch all the anime. And now I just kind of want to like take a look back at the DNAnime podcast in whole and just talk about it for a little bit, Vix. If you want to enable your boy to kind of be nostalgic for a little. I remember back beforehand when we had the original backdrop of the podcast. And you guys remember when we were ovals? Good times. Good times.
What even was the backdrop for the original?
I don't remember. I don't actually remember what the original background was.
I have to go look.
It
Now
was kinda
I
like
forgot because I know we got
it's
this
kinda like
one
this.
pretty early. It was like episode 3.
Yeah. It was rough going, but you know, things evolved and changed over time. But no, it was really fun, man. It was really fun. We kind of, you know, feeling things out as we were starting to do the podcast. We were going topics. We were doing 3 topics every podcast. Then we ran out of brain cells and we were like, we're going to do 1 topic a podcast. Now we just sit here and we just chat. We just chat and have a good time.
Just
And
kind
share
of
the
vibe now.
love
Just kind of like
of
every
anime.
week. It's like, hey man, what was the vibe this week?
I know. What's the vibe? Shitting on 7 Deadly Frames. What's the vibe? Shitting on
Slideshow
T-Bait.
of the end. Yeah, it's just kind of like every couple weeks we shit on a few things. A couple weeks we talk about a masterpiece. Every few weeks go back to shitting on things. Not very often that we get to get nostalgic. It's usually just, man, this latest thing suck.
True. You wouldn't be an anime fan if you wasn't crapping on the thing you love.
I feel like that's a symbol of passion. You won't, like, if you don't like the thing, you won't say much about it. Like, if you care about it a lot, you get angry when something dumb happens because you're like, the potential is so high and you guys are ruining my thing. It's my thing and you are fucking it up.
You specifically, the one animator that worked on Blue Lock. I'm joking. I kid.
It wasn't the animator, it was the publisher.
Dude, oh man. I feel bad because like normally whenever I would watch, okay, we just gonna talk about bad anime right now. Whenever I would watch anime and it was bad, like say like an X-Arm, I didn't feel emotionally attached to it. I was like, oh, this anime is just garbage, and I would move on.
It just fell off
now
the face of the earth.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Crunchyroll promoted it for like 2 weeks as its like banner anime, And I was like, oh, that's a new one. I don't remember anybody talking about that one. And then they just took it down, and I just never saw it again. Nobody said a thing.
They're like, we made a mistake.
They pulled a whole Last Airbender where they're like, there is no X-Arm in Bossing Say.
Dude, because okay, so around the time when X-Arm came out, I wasn't watching it, right? I just heard everybody talking about it, so I was like, okay, well, let me check it out. Let me see what this is about, because there were so many like insert anime YouTuber here, and they were just like talking about how bad X-Arm was, and it was the Crunchyroll like exclusive, produced by Crunchyroll. Because all right, I kind of want to talk about the mission statement of Crunchyroll for a second as well. I feel like it's gonna tie in. But Crunchyroll's whole thing was like, hey, it's gonna be the premier like service for anime where you can watch it legally instead of the illegal, counterparts that we had beforehand. Because again, I'm sure we all had those websites growing up where you're like, hey, I gotta go here. We got the fan subs that were going there. Dude, I kind of miss those days of all like the different fan dub groups and fan sub groups that would like, subtitle everything. But they were like, hey, you're gonna get everything here. It's gonna be done with a professional staff. It's gonna be subtitled. Funimation was killing it at that one time where they were doing simul-dubs, where literally one-to-one episodes would come out in Japanese and in English. Like, it was really, really cool. And the Crunchyroll kept trying to say like they were going to be essentially funded by the community, and the money was going to be put forth to the people who made the thing that we love, right? And I feel like Crunchyroll kind of failed on that part, because again, there's been a lot of stuff that people have talked about. There was that whole there's X-Arm that was produced by Crunchyroll, and that was god awful.
They're like, we'll just do it ourselves. Maybe not.
Yeah, and then there was the whole story about the English voice actor who all of his mail was going to the Crunchyroll office, and they were opening his mail, and any gifts or anything that he got, they would give it away to staff. What? And he had to come out and be like, yeah, you didn't hear about that? I forget the voice actor.
I didn't hear about none of that.
Oh, dude, it was bad. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. But it was a story like a while ago that came out as an English voice actor. I don't remember who it was. David Wald. So David Wald, I don't know who he voiced. Let's look up at some of his characters. But I don't know how we got the crapping on Crunchyroll, but I will talk about it a little bit.
You, every couple weeks we gotta find something to crap on. Last week it was Slideshow at the end. This week it's Crunchyroll.
So he's in solo leveling as Man.
Man.
His name Man. He's Hugh from Fairy Tail.
Okay.
So that's like a major character. He's Askeladd in Vinland Saga. He's Snipe, worthless as in My Hero.
Damn, why are you talking about him like that? He did something, sort of, I think.
He shot Shigaraki in all his limbs, but he should have killed him. But anyway, that's either here or there. But yeah, he was a voice actor that was working on a bunch of these projects like I just listed out. And Crunchyroll, they was opening up his fan mail that was sent to the Crunchyroll office, and just whatever like artwork or anything that the fans sent to him, they opened it up and gave it to staff. They apparently, he said he found out about it. They were just taking all of his fan like gifts and just putting it on the table for the staff to just use, and he didn't know about it for like a year.
That's so random and like strange. Like, why would you bother? Like, you have to
just like free stuff.
How did it even get to Crunchyroll? Like, how they had to like reroute it there?
I don't know. Yeah,
That's
I don't know if
bizarre.
it's because he like did work there, and then people were just like, oh, or maybe he had something set up where he's like, my PO box is this. I don't know what it was or how they got their stuff, but yeah, people would send stuff to him, and they would open it up, and then a bunch of people came out and was like, I found out that they were doing that to me as well. I use Crunchyroll. I like Crunchyroll. I would like to support the official release, but stuff like that does happen. It also leads to anime shows like X-Arm, which again, I saw like a couple of clips, and it was literally a 2D guy next to a 3D model that like is from the PS2, legitimately. It was like having actual 2D character next to Wind Waker Zelda, and I'm just like, what is this show? It was so bad. And that was about all I knew about X-Arm. I just didn't watch it.
If you want something amazing, sometimes you have to release a few pieces of trash. So
true.
You can't always have you can't just immediately get all the Jujutsu Kaisens. You gotta break a few eggs first. Sometimes things gotta suck. But I feel like we've made it to a point where like you should kind of know, like if I animate something and then I run it back, I'm like, all right, let me see what I just animated and see what I've done, and I run it back and it's 2 FPS and different art styles within the same frame. Feel like I would probably be able to tell. I don't think a lot of people are going to be happy about this, and sometimes it's like, do you not watch this back? I know with the case of I already forgot which anime it was.
Blue
Blue Lock. That it wasn't the animators that like messed it up. It was like they did their part, and then the publisher was like, "Now we can cut these parts, it'd be alright." And then they sent it out in Adobe After Effects. So I feel like they should also be able to tell, but a little bit less so, I guess. But come on, like you. I feel like it's one of those situations where it's like I don't fly a helicopter, but if I saw one in a tree, I could probably tell it's not right. So,
I mean, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, obviously, there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen when it comes to making something on the level of an anime or any show. So obviously, they probably. I mean, again, I know those animators knew with any show like Seven Deadly Sins or Blue Lock or Tower of God or now T-Bait. They know that their work isn't up to snuff. And like we always say, those animators and people who are in the industry are very passionate. They're not paid very well as well. But there's a lot of people in upper management that don't care, and they're just like, the consumer will consume. We need to save money. You guys don't have the time. We don't have the budget. Just put it out there, and that's how we get the slop that we get.
On me. I don't do that. I didn't buy the Pokemon game because I didn't think I was like, I'm not gonna support it if they're gonna garbage my series. Like, I love Pokemon, but if they want to re-release the same game for 30 generations and then it keeps getting worse and worse, I'm gonna stop buying it. I'm gonna stop. Like, this last one was like the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I wasn't buying it. And then there's a lot of things that are like, people will buy it just because it's the title name. Assassin's Creed, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. It was literally the same game for so long until like they released, what was it, Black Flag, and then they had the naval battles, and every single time it was riddled with bugs. I don't know. So some people are like, yeah, I don't have any bugs, but like Zoot plays it religiously. And he's like, I barely ever have any bugs. And I'm like, dude, every time I boot up Assassin's Creed, I fall through the map. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's rough. You know what I mean? It's rough. But it's this is off topic a little bit, but it reminds me of the Switch 2. When the Nintendo Direct came out and the Switch 2 was announced, and they dropped, like, games are going to be $80, $90 physical. Everybody was up in arms. It's so upset. It's so, like, pissed off about how expensive the console was and how expensive the games were. And then the pre-orders came out, and there's like the highest pre-orders that ever lived. And the people were just like, y'all say y'all gonna vote with your wallet. Why did y'all buy?
I think the price of the console itself was probably reasonable. I know why it went up to $80, $90. I just don't like it. I feel like it could have been mitigated back down to 70. Some of the games, like, they're not. If they're a brand new IP, then like I could see how they would have to take assets from nothing, and it would cost a little bit more production wise. But we're on Mario Kart 30 bazillion. You trying to tell me you don't reuse any assets? I don't believe you.
Mario Kart World, Vix. You can drive off the map and do.
I could always drive off the map. Look at Rainbow Road. That was my staple. That was my move.
Drive it a bit. But yeah, I don't know, dude. It's hard out here for a pimp. But hey, people will buy it. I'm gonna get a Switch 2 at some point. I ain't doing it right now. I'm gonna get one at some point. The only thing that's rough about the Switch 2 and just Nintendo games in general is that they never go on sale. You still got to pay $60 for Breath of the Wild. You know what I mean?
That is a little crazy to me. I didn't even know that because I didn't buy very many Nintendo games. It used to just be like Smash Bros. And Pokemon, and then the occasional Zelda. And I haven't bought Zelda since Skyward Sword. And Pokemon fell off. Smash Bros. I bought Ultimate, I think. And I tried to do Nintendo Online, and 7,000 ping is unacceptable for Ultimate. So I was like, yes, because I used to be okay with not being able to play online because I used to have my sister. My sister would play with me, but she obviously is not in the house with me any longer. So I didn't have anybody to play with. So I was like, oh, I don't really need to get it because I'm just going to go online and they're going to just wombo combo me before my ping catches up. And then I'll be like, oh, I'm dead. That's not very fun.
I'm live. I'm dead. I'm live. Like, it's so bad, dude. Because I played a lot of Smash Ultimate online. This is totally not about anime, but I played so much Smash online, and I love Smash Brothers. But I don't even know if we're gonna get another one. We're getting a Kirby Air Ride 2, and that was made by Masahiro Sakurai.
Okay, I loved Kirby Air Ride. Kirby Air Riders was so much fun on the GameCube. it's cool that it's coming back, but I'm not gonna buy it because it's gonna be $80.
Come on,
I don't have $80. My air conditioning is broken. So
food or Kirby Air Ride, Vic.
sorry,
Or
I'm gonna pick food
Kirby
this
Air
time.
Ride.
Food makes me fat, and I'm trying to look like Kirby. All right. I don't have the money for that, but hey, the subscription I pay for, back to Crunchyroll. We'll go back to anime for real this time. I swear. I was thinking about it over the course of this last week, how I have aged as a anime watcher. Like, I can tell, like, I like a different type of anime now. One in specific this week that I mentioned earlier, or last week, either last week or the week before, the Two Perfect Saint is so good. It's so good. It is, but it is not, there is no combat, like, at all. It is like the most slice of lifey deal of magic of like all time. And it's kind of like if you ever saw The Saint's Power is Omnipotent, there it's kind of like that one, but it's a little bit more twisted. The darkness that I mentioned before that was like teeming over the main character's sister is like really intensifying as she like finds out more about what happened. And then on the flip side, the main character who was like abused her whole life is like getting treated correctly for the first time. And it's like it tugs at your heartstrings like really hard because everything is like working against everybody. So, and it's like one of the few times where they bought somebody, like somebody got bought, right? We've been over this, the slavery thing, bad. This was super close to being the slavery thing. They sold the saint to the other kingdom, and now she is more free than ever. So it was so close to going there, and then they're like, oh, but what if? What if we just didn't do that?
First was Notorious Talker, now it's the same.
Well, this time it was the main character that got sold, so
yeah, that's great.
A little twist on it there, but she went over there, started getting treated right and whatever, so that's cool. It feels really good to watch it. Do recommend. It's still good. Animation is like really solid for what it offers. Like, there's not a lot of movement, but like I feel like the animation really stands out almost a lot more when there is little movement, because you can kind of see the like choppiness a little bit better. Because you can do smear frames to cover up choppiness in a lot of the more like action-packed ones. You can't do that if like I'm just sitting here talking to you. Can't really cover it up with a smear frame. Like if you have a smear frame between like leaning back and leaning forward, everyone's gonna see that. So, but it's a lot more covered up in high action where like the smear frame just looks like a punch. But it is a good one. It feels good. But I was like thinking about it. I'm like, man, a lot of the ones that I've been recommending, even the ones that are action packed, the parts that I like more is not the action. Windbreakers, season 2 episode, was it 4? I think. Oh my god, I almost cried. I was at work. I had to cry. I was like, I can't cry. I had to pause. I'm glad somebody came in and started talking to me because I had to pause it. And I was like, if I watched that all the way through, I might have cried. Might have been. We can't cry at work.
No. Mixed feeling emotions. Let's go.
Don't you talk. Just wait. Just you wait till you see it, because it's.
I'm going to see it.
It's the nostalgia punch in the gut, and it's so sweet and like wholesome at the same time. And it's Sakura's growth, and actually they show growth for not just Sakura, but you know his name is Kaji. You know who that is? You know which one that is? The one that always has the headphones on.
Oh yeah, that guy.
So
they
show they hint at his growth too, and it was so sweet because it was like seeing Sakura like swallow his pride and like ask for help in the newest episode was already such a huge step forward. And then by the end of the episode, they were like, "Hey, look at what happened to Kaji back then," and you're like, "Oh shit, upperclassmen time, let's fucking go." And it's funny when he like punches the shit out of Umemiya too. It was hilarious because he was like, he was like giving advice, and then the Umemiya comes in and was like clapping for him. He's like, "Our little Kaji's all grown up," and he just fucking decks the shit out of him.
That is. Oh, well, I'm excited to see about that because at the end of the first season, they introduce him. And the whole gimmick of him, like, I always wear the headphones, and he's like screaming. He's like, you can't hear yourself or whatever. You're just all loud.
Mhm.
But obviously we haven't delved too much into their characters.
How
They're
far they're going to go into
season.
Kaji, but like just a little bit that they've hinted at. If they do just a little bit more, then it would be phenomenal. Because he is still, like a supporting character and not like a main cast character, since he is he's a second year. So him just having a little bit of like information is pretty nice. But I feel like they should probably focus more on the first years because Sakura is the main character and like that's who you want to see. But it's nice to see that it's not like they're not just making it so that the second years are like the answers. Like some animes will just have it be like, the main character doesn't know what to do. Ask your upperclassmen. They have the answer. Well, this time he does kind of have the answer, but it's because he also had this question and he got an answer. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. They didn't need to do that, but they did, and it's so good. I love it, and it's still animated. It's so beautiful. I love it so much.
Dude, like the crazy thing about Windbreakers is that I mean we talked about it before. It feels like it came out of nowhere. I really want to know. I want to ask the question to anybody that hears this. If you guys were a Windbreaker fan, are you like ecstatic that the anime is so good? Because I don't think I've ever heard anything.
Nobody ever mentioned the manga, and so far nobody has mentioned that they fucked up the adaptation. There's usually always that one guy who's like, "No, they ruined my adaptation. They ruined my manga.
Actually,
they ruined it for me." But I haven't seen anything for this. I haven't seen any forums, no questionnaires, no surveys, no. I guess I haven't looked too deep into it though, but. Like I haven't seen anything through the grapevines. Also, the fucking opening slaps again. The first season was so good, and then the second one I think is even better. Oh, it's so good. I love one of those ones that I like actually watched, through the opening. You know the rule. You watch it once, and then after the first episode, you kind of decide is that skippable or not. This is not skippable.
Yeah. Which luckily. Crunchyroll now you can skip the openings, but
that's the greatest addition that they've ever done, and they added it so that you can skip the outro or the ending too, which is awesome. And they added it for some series, which lets you skip the recap. And I was like, oh my god, all the things that I don't want to look at, they have a button for. That's incredible.
Which is great. It's kind of crazy. It took so long to get that, but yes, it is fantastic. But I'm glad that Windbreaker's still killing it. I'm gonna be catching up with that soon. I'm going to start because I'm like always a season behind. So I'm finishing up the shows that I was watching, like Shangri-La Frontier and ReZero, which that's done. And then I'm gonna start up with this new season. It's just been with the move and everything like that. I just been all over the place. But we getting there. But I'm glad because again, Windbreakers was just like this. I don't know what you would call it, a sleeping giant. Like it came out of nowhere.
It's a dark horse hidden gem.
Yeah, and it's just like I was watching it, and it was just like everything that I love. Which is funny that you brought up kind of like. As you aged as an anime fan, like you're watching series you would normally watch. Like if I went back to little baby boy version of me, little crow,
little baby crow, still in the nest.
Yeah, still in the nest. And you would have told me that I would have been watching romance anime, I would have slapped the shit out of you. Like it's kind of crazy, but like my dress up darling. And anime like Toradora.
I would have spat on that back in the day. I'd have been like, "You want me to watch that? Hawk 2, that's Gooner shit."
Yeah, like all I watched growing up was at Shonen, dude. That's it. It was Shonen. It was Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball Z, Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, like just all the action or comedy. That was always my bag. I never watched any. I didn't like Slice of Life. I never watched anything romance.
I don't remember when I started.
Scrapping.
I think the first time I like dipped my foot into Slice of Life, I think it was Toradora. I think that was the first one. No, it couldn't have been because I remember starting it and thinking, well, I liked some other Slice of Life things. So I don't know what the first one was. I'd have to go back and look at like what's on the list. But there was an undefined period where I was just like, you know what? Sometimes I just want to have my heart broken. And sometimes I just want to cry. I'm a grown man. I'm not allowed to do that. Let me do it in the solace of my own bedroom. I'll cry in the corner.
Yeah. Okay, because that is one thing when I was younger. I don't know what it was, but one of my friends, he just would watch all of those, like Angel Beats,
Angel Beats,
and I'm just like, I would go over. He was like, "Hey man, you gotta watch this anime." And I start watching it. I'm just like emotionally devastated as like a 15-year-old. And I'm just like, why is this girl regressing into a fox? And she's like dying. And she just like stopped being able to speak and shit. And I was like, what? I just want to watch Goku blast the guy.
I came here for a good time and you making me have a bad time. What is this? Why am I so happy? What are these things coming out of my eyes?
It was like a marathon. It was Clannad, Angel Beats, and then F, which is like the anime is called EF. I think it was made by the same guy that did either Angel Beats or Clannad. And they were just all sad. F was not as good as the other two. But I was just like, why are we watching the sad ass shit?
Dude,
what's going on, man?
I didn't believe when people used to tell me how sad some anime were. I just didn't believe it. And then I watched shit like Plastic Memories was one of them. I don't even remember that one that much. I just remember like at the beginning, I was like, this ain't that bad. And then by like halfway through, I was like, this is awful. I hate everything about this, but it's amazing. And then there was the classic Anohana. I was like, it can't be that sad. And by the half of it, I was like, I gotta pause. I can't read the subtitles. Too much water. My house is flooding. It's something. I'm not crying. You are. Perfect day for rain, don't you think?
Exactly. Anohana pissed me off so much by how good it was and how much it made me feel. It was like, I don't want to be weeping all the time. Like, Anohana was so good. I love, and it's short. I don't remember how long it is, but it's pretty short. And the story is told so effectively. You get to learn about all the characters, all the trauma that they went through as kids with, what's her name? Minmay? What's her name? Mimma? I think it was Mimma.
Menma was somebody's name. I don't remember. I couldn't read the title. I couldn't read their names. I was crying.
I was crying. The episode just started. You start crying. But yeah, it's been a long time since I watched Anohana. But that anime was so good, and I loved all the characters. And I was so sad at the end of it. And it was like shows like that. And then when we were doing like the anime watch-alongs, I was like, we can't keep doing this. I can't keep watching.
I can't do this every week. You got to give me a break.
Yeah, dude, like I was
somebody post an episode of Demon Slayer in here, please.
I was like, please, we need to do something. I watched you. I want to eat your pancreas and all this stuff, and I'm just like being destroyed. Look back, all these things. I'm just like constantly every weekend being emotionally destroyed to the point where I'm just like I'm getting a headache from crying. I'm just sitting there. We just all sitting there watching it together, just weeping, and just like hoping
everybody's mic's muted. Everybody's just crying in their room. Good watch along, guys. Bye. I'll see you next week.
Hey man, no toxic masculinity over here. You know what I mean? We watch anime movies and cry like real men. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that I love about anime. It's one of the reasons why we started the podcast, because we love it so much, and the medium that we enjoy can resonate with you so much to make you feel these emotions, to make you laugh, make you cry, make you get excited, make you get hyped, make you see all these cool ass shit. Like again, I love anime. We shit on it a lot. These bad shows or whatever.
It's passion. Passion.
But yeah, we're passionate. We love it. You know what I mean? It's always cool looking at this stuff, but it is a funny thing to kind of like look back and be like, how much you've changed as a person, or just your taste as an anime fan, and how much anime has changed over time. Because I feel like teenage me would have been eating up isekais. Old man me am not watching any of these damn things. If they're the title of the show is
sometimes they're just ridiculous enough that I'll be like, hey man, sometimes I just want to see how they fuck the vending machine. I just want to know how it happens.
Dude, is it bad that I want to watch that? Because
no, like, it's annoyingly good. I almost don't like how good it is. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It has no right to be as good as it is.
I feel like you and everybody Nova as well are gaslighting me.
I promise you it is. It's okay. So first, I'll preface it by saying it's not going to change your worldview or anything, but it is dumb as shit in the most hilarious way possible, where it is a harem around a literal vending machine. But it is good. Like, I don't understand why or how they made a vending machine like entertaining, but they did it. It's there, and the animation was good. So it was like, this shouldn't be like this. I came here to laugh at this like train wreck, and now it's like, wait, am I enjoying this?
I remember when it was coming out. I don't think we weren't doing the podcast at the time, but I was streaming at the time, and people brought it up. I was like, oh, anime season, whatever. We were just talking about anime, and I saw the PV for it, and I watched it, and I was like, this makes no fucking sense.
This is absolutely ridiculous. Sometimes that's how they get me. That's how they get me though, is because I'm inquisitive. If you do something totally off the wall, I'm gonna be like, how the what? Why? And then I'll go watch it just to find out how and why and like how do you make a vending machine anime interesting? And I'm like, this has to be bad. It has to be. And so I looked at it and I was like, no, it's good. How did you do this? And I was like waiting for it to be, I was waiting for it to hit the Osan level where it was like the okayest, but it was way better than Osan. It was like a solid 7.5. Like if Osan is like dead center 5, then this would be like a 7.5, 8. It was like, did not deserve to be that good. I mean, it did because they put a lot of effort into it, but at the same time, it was like, it's a fucking vending machine. Come on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, how many vending machines? He gets the ability to transform, and I'm like, his transformation was limited to the type of vending machines that Japan has. And I was like, how many can that really be? And he's like 40 transformations in, and I'm like, Japan, what is with you in vending machines?
Kind of crazy. Yeah. Okay. Man, I've seen a bunch of photos of like all the different type of vending machines, and also you play. I also seen a bunch of like vending machines because I play Yakuza, closest to Japan I can get. But yeah, they have like an insane assortment of vending machines, and to having that be his power up is crazy to me. Because the entire time I was like, kind of like slime, right? Like, oh, he's been reincarnated as slime, but he gets a human form. I was like, oh, surely the vending machine's gonna get something. And you're just like, no, he's just a fucking vending machine. And one of the characters just strap him to his back.
And like I was like waiting for the way that he got his like version of communication, and he never gets like a true way to communicate. That he's just like the vending machines in Japan, I guess, have like a success and a failure line. And the success line means yes, and the failure line means no. And so he'll just say those two lines to like guide people through the question, and then he'll just turn into the fucking vending machine to solve the problem. And it's like, first of all, where the fuck did you get a cardboard vending machine? Like that can't be real.
Wait. He can't talk to the other characters?
Nope. He's literally just a normal vending machine.
Wait. So how do they become a party or become a harem?
So the way that it starts is that at the very beginning, when he reincarnates into the vending machine, he's just like out in the wilderness, and he starts getting like beat up by, I think it was like orcs, and then he gets a divine blessing for a barrier, so he's able to like use the barrier until his power runs out. And this girl comes up and like hides in the barrier, and she starts like talking to herself, and he starts using the success and failure lines as his yes and no, and she just kind of like figures it out. And then she asks like, can you understand me? And then he says the yes line. And so that's how it kind of like begins, and she's basically like his interpreter, and she's like the biggest airhead in the show. So like only she would reach that conclusion. Everyone else would be like, what? But she gets to it, and she has the divine blessing of strength. So her blessing, she just carries him around because she's a klutz. So she can't use her blessing of strength because she just biffs it all the time.
Oh man, I'm about to start watching this show now.
It's so ridiculous, but it's like the types of vending machines, and he starts like using different types of vending machine transformations as like combo attacks. Like he used like the fire extinguisher one to fill a pit with foam, and then he used the balloon one to like put a bunch of balloons on himself, and then he turned into a cardboard one so that he was light enough to be lifted by the balloons. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like you're literally just a vending machine. Like you're moving around by just transforming like a million times.
Somebody had to be very creative, apparently.
For real, like someone must have just been like going through like down the street. I need to come up with something, and they just see the cardboard one in the corner, and they're like, "What if I made an anime about that?"
Because the thing, okay, so you want to know what happens? Because I remember watching the trailer for it, and I was like, I need to check this out. And I was talking to Nova about it, and I was like, yeah, I'll check this out. But you know what stopped me from watching it? I watched another isekai. I got reincarnated as a sword or whatever it was called, and I was watching it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. I like isekai. I know I shit on them a lot. I do like isekai, right? The guy dies. He gets reincarnated in the fantasy world as a sword, and he's just like a legendary sword just stuck in the ground, pretty much. And that's it. He just stuck in the ground. He's just talking to himself. He's like, I can't do anything. And then eventually, they start showing the deuteragonist, the second main character, was like this cat girl who's a slave. Who, you know, again, in typical isekai stuff, there's always some slave plot. And so she was just getting like beat up and like, beast tribe, whatever, and like she's getting mistreated by her owner. And then she ends up finding the sword and fighting back and protecting herself. And then, you know, her and the main character becomes like this tag team. So she uses the sword to fight, and it's like this little cat girl and the sword. And I watched this and I was like, this is dumb.
I actually heard it was pretty good.
I'm good. It was fine. It was fine, but I was just kind of just like, I get the gimmick. It wouldn't do anything special.
You're not a real isekai fan if you don't like cat girls with swords.
It was literally just like this little slave cat girl in tattered clothes with this giant sword dude that would just talk to her.
I feel like if she got a legendary sword, she should stop being a slave at some point, though, right?
I mean, I didn't get up to the point where she had normal clothes.
Like, yeah, that's the mark of slaves. It's whether or not they have normal clothes.
Yeah, I mean, she was wearing the fucking the bag special or whatever, and she like freed herself, and they were kind of like on the trip and on the journey.
Running.
yeah, pretty much. So I was just like, you know, it was whatever, and I just kind of like turned it off, and I was just like, I'm sure the vending machine one's probably be this as well. And then I was just like, all right, I'm good.
I mean, you're gonna understand the gimmick early on, but it's ridiculous. Like you just like it's so ridiculous, you just don't believe it. Like how do we go? How do we go from back in the day where it was ninjas and pirates and Grim Reapers to my vending machine has a harem? How do you get there?
This is the beauty of anime. You wouldn't see this on an episode of Friends. Ross dies and goes to a medieval fantasy world as a barrel of wine. I don't know. Again, this is the only entertainment that you can get from anime.
We love the ridiculousness of it, though. We really gotta respect it, especially when they come out like well. You're just like sometimes it's just the palate cleanser that you need, right? You just get sick of isekai, and you're like, all right, everybody's overpowered. It's all the same thing. You get reincarnated into a world that for some reason always has slaves, and then like you're overpowered as fuck. You don't do anything about the slaves, and then that is the whole thing. But then they're just like, okay, but what if I was a sword or a vending machine or a baguette held up by a mage hand or something?
I mean, isekai is such a weird genre in general because it went from just the power fantasy of like if I was in a fantasy world from modern Japan and I had an overpowered ability. Or, you know, I was just like the special guy, the hero. And then they're like, that's lame. Now what if we went to a fantasy world and I was just weak and garbage?
What if I was actually Patrick's pet rock? What if that?
Yeah. Oh, no. And so, dude, there's been like reverse isekai where it's like, okay, fantasy characters come into the real world. Like,
okay, no, wait. There's not very many of those, but the ones that I've seen are really good. Recreators was astonishingly good.
I need to watch Recreators. I always forget
so fucking good. It is like a 9.5 out of 10 easy. I've
heard nothing but good things. I cannot find out where Recreators is to watch it.
I must have got lucky because when I watched it, it was on Prime. Amazon Prime used to have like a specific anime bundle that you had to pay for called Anime Strike. And I got it through Anime Strike. And since then, they have... I've removed, I guess, from Amazon Prime. It is no longer its own bundle, but most of it got added into Prime Video. So that's probably the best chance. Otherwise, yo ho, to find it.
yo, dreaming. Don't look on that website, dreaming.
But it was so good. It was the first time that I had seen the isekai go the other way, and it wasn't just one. It was like 10. And it was so interesting because none of the characters in real life got a magic power up for being like, I don't know, nearby super powered people. It felt like felt like kind of backwards Fate, where it was like they all came in and were overpowered in the version where their masters or whatever just were useless. It was kind of like that. But it was like, oh man, I can't describe it though. It was like so unique at the time. I haven't actually think about. I don't know. Was there another one? I don't know any other ones other than Recreator.
So Recreators is one. Devil is a Part-Timer is another one. I don't know. Okay, I want to ask you a question, Vix. I'm sure there's more reverse isekais. I was about to say Inuyasha. I'm like, Inuyasha goes to the room from feudal Japan. But anyway, I want to know, because I have a question for you. What's your guilty pleasure isekai? What's just like an isekai that you just enjoy? But you like
isekai that I enjoy?
Yeah, just like a guilty pleasure isekai. I'll give you mine.
Okay.
My guilty pleasure isekai is Gate. I love Gate.
Okay, hold on. Stupid. That's not a guilty pleasure. Gate is fucking amazing.
I love Gate. It's okay, so dumb.
For it to be a guilty pleasure, I feel like you'd have to be like, now hear me out and let me explain.
I mean, true, but I wouldn't say Gate is like it's not the top tiers of anime or anything like that. It's such a simple premise where it's just like,
but it was executed so well, and they didn't remove the capability of like real people. Like they took them from the real world and they're like, here's your limitations. Like you don't have magic, but you have a gun. And they're like, okay, well, let me just fucking shoot people then.
I love Gate, where like all these medieval magical like kingdoms are like, hey, you know, these people from like modern Japan or some other world or whatever, they come in here. We got to plan and plot and do all these conniving schemes so that we can stop them, take their technology and beat them. And then a fucking Apache helicopter will just fly in and nuke the entire country.
Yeah, when they were like afraid of the dragon, they're like, okay, we'll bring in the helicopter and drop the Hellfire missiles. You're like, well, all right then.
I'm just watching this show and I'm just like, this is so dumb, but I love it so much. Just watching people with modern weapons fight like mystical creatures and just obliterate them with like AK-47s and like dropping bombs on their head.
I don't know. So like I feel like all of the isekai that I watch, I don't have to like explain myself for. Like if I'm watching it, I feel like the most because like Absolute Duo wasn't like phenomenal, but it wasn't like I don't have to explain myself. It was just like a regular generic isekai. And I was like, what is the most like fucked up one? Oh, there's one. Oh, what is it called? Oh, I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to think about it because I don't have any idea what it was called. All I remember is that the main character was like not vibing with the save the world deal, and the villain showed up and was like, I'll offer you women, and he was like, sold. and then like his like partner was like, no, wait a minute, you can't do that, hold on. Wait a minute. Wait. Was it this one? Oh, here it is. Combatants will be dispatched. That was the one.
Combatants will be dispatched. What is that about?
I don't know. Literally, it was like I thought it was supposed to be like it was like an angel and her like, what do they call her? Like I guess I'll just call him a partner. They were like sent to this world, and they were like, I guess they weren't. I guess that's not really isekai. It's like it's just more fantasy, but it's like as close as I could think of, where the like demon lord is like taking over, and so they dispatch the two of them to be like the military force needed to push the demon king back. And they walk up. I just remember the one scene where they walk up to this like really hot demon general. And she's like, I'll let you do whatever you want if you come over to our side. And he was like, bet, and just started going.
What the hell?
I was like, wait, what?
And then he's just on the evil team the rest of the show?
No, his little angel partner was like, no, wait a minute, you can't do that. Halt, pause, bring it back. And so they had like this whole ordeal over that instance. It was dumb. It was stupid. But it was unexpected and funny. And otherwise, like what are some isekai that you feel like you would have to like explain yourself for?
I mean, again, I don't know about explain myself, but I chose Gate because it just felt like a fun little like little treat for the week, whatever, a new episode of Gate. Because like I don't remember the overarching story.
It's really more of a that'd be a feels good isekai, not like a guilty pleasure.
I guess a feel good, but it just was so goofy because it's like I could recommend Gate to people. I was like, hey, if you enjoy Isekai, you think this will be fun. It's a fun anime to watch it, but it's like it's not great. I don't remember any of the plot whatsoever, other than just everybody went to medieval
I think
fantasy
the
world.
premise
They
is
blew a bunch
unique
of
enough
people.
that like you could recommend it without any disclaimers. Be like,
Yeah,
oh, watch
pretty
out,
much.
the elf princess has big knockers. Like that's it. That's what you got.
Yeah, I was like, is that? And then the one like Lolita chick, the like demon reaper lady or whatever that fell for like the main guy.
Yeah,
As like immortal, yeah, her. Like that's the only other thing because it's like, yeah, she's
she's not
immortal,
even
but
really a
also
disclaimer though, because like your disclaimer is like she looks young, but yeah, like that's kind
she's a
of messed up.
1,000-year-old
But like
dragon.
they make it readily apparent that she's like not actually.
Yeah, she doesn't act like a kid, which is nice. Gate is just good. Outside of that, I
I
don't
don't know. I'm
know.
like quickly
Would you
scrolling through.
consider
I don't know. I just
Sword
like
Art?
every time I ever see an anime like going through the list, and I'm like, oh, that could be one. It's like it's just generic fantasy and not isekai.
So Sword Art Online is kind of like that for me because I even enjoy the bad Sword Art Online. I don't know what it is. Like Kirito's the most blandest dude ever, but his relationship with Asuna is so great. I love Sword Art Online so much, but I wouldn't be like, yo,
I
you
don't.
need
If
to
you
watch
tell me
this.
that you watch Sword Art and you think that it's bad or something, I don't believe you. Like I don't trust your opinion or anything.
I don't think Sword Art is bad. I think there's bad seasons of Sword Art, and it's very generic. And Kirito's a very bland character, and it just is kind of just like anime.
I don't even.
You know what
I mean,
It's
like I don't
it's
even.
just like
If you think about it now, I guess if you were to go back and watch it, yeah, because it's like
that's the thing.
he was the starting point, and then
He
it
was
stemmed
the
from it.
starting
Like
point.
yes, everything is kind of like similar to him because that's where it began. Like that's where a lot of things probably took inspiration from, where it was like that guy. So, but like, I think it's fine. Like it's good. I think it's like better than fine actually. For the time that it came out, I liked it a lot. If you come in and you're like, "Oh my god, there was like a plot hole in the time where he could have freed everybody." First of all, dude is like what, 16?
Yeah.
And his fucking life is a video game right now? Like you really think that in the distraught moment of the entire universe falling apart and the thing that he has like tied himself to is going to die, you think that he's just going to be like, "Oh, let me just remove myself from the situation." That's not how that works.
I just think Sword Art is so stupid at times, but I love it so much. One of my favorite things ever is what is it the bullet whatever, what is it, the Gun Gale Online, that season, right? The main character that kind of takes over for Kirito, that becomes the like side character for Kirito.
So
the side main character. I love her so much.
Gun Gale Online, the spin-off anime, is better than the actual Sword Art Online Gun Gale Online.
Really?
Yeah, because they like really flesh out the game, and it's like if you like shooters of any kind, or if you like combat tactics or whatever, one of the characters in there is like psychopathic, but she's only psychopathic in the game. So I feel like it's just way more interesting than Kirito being able to just like cut bullets. You're like, oh, of course he's able to do that. That makes sense. Figures.
Cut bullets with lightsabers.
Yeah, figures. But like that one's like actually the gunplay. It's like it feels like you're watching somebody play Battlefield. Like not even just like Call of Duty, because Call of Duty you just slide around and kill everybody. But Battlefield, you have to be a little bit more careful, and that's what it feels like. Is you have to be really careful. And they put a bunch of twists in there that was like, I won't reveal what it is, but the last twist at the end of the last season was perfection. It was so good. I was like, wait, what? That's fucking crazy, dude. Watch it. It's good.
Sword Art Online.
If you like Sword Art, watch the Gun Gale spinoff.
I do like Sword Art. Sword Art is so stupid though, because when I watched the Gun Gale season, and they were like, this whole game is about guns, but it also has swords, but nobody uses them. But Kirito uses them, and he's the strongest guy in the game because he used the sword that nobody else used. And I'm just like, all right, game,
okay,
or show. This is so stupid.
I think this might be the best one because it is still good, but in reality, when you look at it, you're like, what? Why would you? It is an isekai about the guy when he's summoned. He is supposed to be a hero, doesn't want to be a hero, so he manages the economy instead. How a realist hero rebuilt the kingdom was like shockingly good for the
You want to know about economics?
It was like, it was so, I was like, wait, this is amazing. I love watching this. There's like no combat in it. Dude's like magic ability is to like have another hand. And I was like, what the fuck? That's so weak. And he's like, yeah, I can just, he's like, I do laws, like I can pass laws in economic goods like way faster because I just have like 5 extra hands. That was like his magic.
He just got the fucking John Hancock stand.
Yeah,
like,
that's literally it. Like every time you see him, he's like really tired, and their version of the Oval Office, and it's just him, 3 dudes, and like 6 extra hands, just like signing a bunch of documents.
That does sound like a hentai. Just him, 3 dudes and a bunch of hands just going.
But it was like, I don't know what it was. It was just like I wanted to watch it. Like I don't know what brought me back to it every time. But it was like every time the new episode released, I was like, yeah, I want to go watch that. It didn't feel like a chore, even though it was like really basic. That would probably be my biggest guilty pleasure one, where it's like, I would probably have to explain myself a little better to some people, or be like, you want to just watch a dude do economic progression? Yes, for some reason. But it was good. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, it wasn't, I won't even say that the animation was like top tier, because like the animation, like, first of all, what can you really do with that? But it was like sharp, kind of jagged in some spaces. There was no like, sometimes you have like the giga fluid motion where they just like really emphasize something that never really showed up. It was like pretty barely above average level animation, and then like the premise was just like interesting enough. And I was like, every time I was like, why do I love this? I think it was just like different enough, but still familiar enough that I was like, this is probably like a good resonant anime. Like it resonates with both parts of the realism and the animation part. So that'd probably be why I would do that one, but that's probably the biggest one. Everything else, I'm just like, it's either so far out there that I'm like, no, I'm past explaining myself. If you don't like it, sucks. Other ones are like really obvious that are good, like Slime. Obviously, I don't have to explain myself for Slime. Otherwise, they're just like middle of the road stuff. Like Absolute Duo. I don't even think that one was an isekai, but I don't know why that one's coming to mind right now. Oh, hell yeah, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. If only that was an isekai.
It is for the stands, not a joke. I don't know. But
yeah, I don't really have anything else. Actually, okay. No, wait. I'm gonna say this one because it deserves honorable mention, but then I'm gonna tell you why I don't like it. Log Horizon, so good. Season 1, amazing. The premise was so fantastic. Season 2 took so long to come out. It says a year, but I don't believe that. I think it was like 3 or 4. No,
I don't believe that.
It was so long that when they got to season 2, I had no fucking idea what was happening. And they didn't recap shit. They were just like, by the way, our like government circle is falling apart, and you're like, I don't know any of these people anymore. Like, who is this? And they never like recap who anybody was. People just started like seceding from the circle, and you're like, why are you leaving? People just started like breaking away. They totally gave up on the like raid function, which was like half the draw of the first season. And I was like, the 2 raids that they did in the first season were amazing. The raids were so much fun to watch. And then season 2, they were like, okay, what if it was only politics? And you're like, I don't know what you're talking about the entire time. Give me a hint, something, flash something on screen so I remember. I don't know.
Oh no, you just lost. Oh my God. Well, if you guys want to let us know what's your guilty pleasure anime or isekai, or an anime that, you know, your younger version that you really enjoy, but your younger version would be like, I don't even know why you would watch this. You know, as your tastes have changed over the years, you can let us know in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this episode of DNAnime Podcast, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, give us a 5-star review on any audio podcast service of your choice. We want to thank you guys for hanging out with us for the 52nd episode of DNAnime Podcast. 1 year down, everybody. Shake, 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 shake. Give us congratulations. We done did it. It didn't die.
Round of applause in a big old circle.
You know, we almost got East-Kite ourselves by hurricanes, but luckily we're still here. So the podcast is still alive. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.